Yeah, this is Point Black. Coming in hard and off the card. Coming with the flow straight from the barrio. And coming with the heat from the damn street. We coming with the facts, crack backs, and the boom bip to the line as lives. Because this is what we must do. This is PBNN, Point Black National News, the late and the great edition and the ghetto edition as well. Because, again, this is what we must do. We must always keep check on these things. You know what I'm saying? We cannot allow them to control the narrative and be coming from a position of a tyrant, you know what I'm saying, all the way through their political career. And then turn around and still want to be controlling the narrative as the people have to start learning to not so much get caught up in the political arena, because in all essence you should be controlling the political arena and those that you have elected into the will of giving them the power, and then they being there based on some electoral form to glorify their tyrantness, you know what I'm saying, and then even gain momentum, you know what I'm saying, in their so-called re-election. And the momentum is a question of who the hell is giving these tyrants momentum, you know what I'm saying? Because at the same time, while you give them momentum and completely forget about what they have done, I wonder where the votes are. I wonder who and where the votes are really coming from. Now today, we're going to look at the trans world, because the trans world leader has a lot to say here. You know what I'm saying? But when we look at the trans world leader, in this essence, he says that, you know what I'm saying, in more ways than one, that he is, I guess he said he's sick and tired of hearing about the October 7th, you know what I'm saying, massacre, you know, calling New York Democrats a real terrorist, you know what I'm saying? But the co-founder of the Black Trans Liberation Group said she is sick and tired of hearing, you know, sick and tired. Well, she's sick and tired of hearing about the October 7th massacre, you know what I'm saying, in Israel, and called top New York Democrats a real called the top Democrats the real terrorists at the Big Apple rally over the weekend. You know what I'm saying? The reality is people who are real terrorists are sitting in the office right now. Same thing I said. You know what I'm saying? Screamed trans activist, I say Queen Jean or something like that, QWEEN, Jean, you know what I'm saying, at a crowd of fellow demonstrators, labeling the war in the Gaza a genocide. I did too. You know what I'm saying? All the fucking kings do is they eat what you say all the fucking kings do is they eat ice cream when they are asked about the starving children in the Gaza. Oh yeah, I said that before. They go have Tutti Frutti ice cream. You know what I'm saying? They go down to the local store there, and they go have some Tutti Frutti. You know? You know what I'm saying? It's not funny. But at the same time, you know what I'm saying, that's what they do. While you have people bodies being ripped apart and people eating each other and starvation at its highest rate and steady bombing and killing and arresting, bombing and killing and arresting. Oh yes. You know what I'm saying? And Biden sits there and back them up. Oh yes. Sends our military ships and battle might over there and rocket launches and hitting the people from out in the sea, you know what I'm saying? They could launch them rockets from out in the sea a million miles away, bomb the Gaza Strip, making it look like it's Israel when it's America. You know what I'm saying? When it's American might sent by the creep Joe Biden and the rest of them conglomerates who's ever involved with the idiot, sending it over there because they created it and now they want to protect their strategic interests. So you see what the interest is of people's lives when it comes to their interests. You're collateral damage. You know what I'm saying? Netanyahu is no more than an extension of the creep Joe Biden, the creation, and the British and many others who are involved in putting these idiots there calling themselves Israel. You know what I'm saying? But she went out to say starving children in Gaza. They go out and eat ice cream. When asked about the starving children in Gaza, she said, an apparent reference to 81-year-old nutcase creepy Joe Biden, who chewed down on ice cream while talking about the war last week. Oh yes, that's the way they feel about human life. You know what I'm saying? Speaking at a ceasefire now, it shouldn't have no ceasefire. It shouldn't even have to have a rally about it. It should have been ceased. Ceasefire rally Saturday, apparently part of the Manhattan Million March for the Palestinian protest. Jean then named and shamed New York Governor Kathy Hochul, that's right, Gotham Mayor Eric Kubal, greasy head Screwball Adams, that's right, you know what I'm saying, and U.S. Rep Richie Torres, that's right, you know what I'm saying, digging their ass. You know what I'm saying? Senate Majority Leader Chuck the Duck fucking nutcase ass Schumer and House Democrat New York House Majority. Look who's the majority. Majority Leader Akeem fucking nutcase. Probably Aaron ass Jeffers. You know what I'm saying? He's a fucking idiot. You know what I'm saying? Everybody just named this an idiot. We are sick and tired of being told and reminded of the events of October 7th, Jean said, referring to the Palestinian terrorist group Hamas, you know, saying Hamas slaughtered in Israel that killed more than 1,200 people, mostly civilians, left dozens more hostage, and sparked the ongoing Middle East war. You know what I'm saying? We will not stop until the Palestinian is free. Raged the activists with a rap sheet. We never assumed or afraid to say free the Palestinian people. Torres 35 represents the New York 15th Congressional District, which is compassed the Bronx, took the pejorative or whatever in stride. You know what I'm saying? An anti-Israel, you know what I'm saying, extremist is seen screaming. She's not an anti-Israel. First of all, anytime you want to start talking about some anti-this and anti-that, you know what I'm saying, you're talking about when you say anti-this and anti-that, we're completely talking about a group of people who choose to even be a part of this situation in which we, as grown men and women, should be paying more closer attention to. You know what I'm saying? We should be paying more closer attention to. You know what I mean? Because a lot of people want to give the Biden administration and many people like him a pass and glory at the same time, as if like they did something so great. What you're seeing going on in Israel right now is an invasion invasion that is occupying our occupation of the land of Egypt and killing the Palestinian people who were refugees and probably came there seeking refuge, just as you saw with the people in Darfur when they were seeking refuge in their own father's land, Egypt, and the Ottoman Turks ran them off as if they owned Egypt. You see what I'm saying? These people have been occupying and claiming land in heritage, in culture of other people who they do not belong to. Israel is not anything to do with Egypt at all. It's a European creation based on the different factions of leadership that you have elected with your own hand. So your own hand has been electing these tyrants who allowed the killing and the murdering of the Palestinian people for 75 years and better. Because they created Israel. It's different if we're talking about a biblical people that's indigenous or indigenous or original to the land. These people were never there. They moved in there. But how they did it was over many years of writing a book, I guess going back to maybe the 20s or the 30s, and writing a book that switched the minds of the people over generation to believe something that isn't true. One of the things they wrote in the book when they wrote this so-called version of Bible, you call Sweet James, they wrote it in a way that would put a group of people in a light in spirituality within yourself to think that they are real in the story they're telling about where they came from and who they are. Now, when you look at even the movie with Moses, you know what I'm saying? With Moses, the Jewish people or whatever they call themselves at the time, or in the movie Moses, if you notice, they weren't from Egypt. They weren't from Egypt. You see what I'm saying? In the movie, does the movie explain, much of where they came from or who they are? So they even created a movie to give them a reality of biblicalness in something to do with God and all this different stuff. You see what I'm saying? And then took themselves in the book and made themselves God's chosen people in this lying book that they wrote. Now, for people to accept that in itself would have had to come over generation and time. But there's many people who knew and always knew that that was a lie. So we know in either the 1937 to 1934 or even the beginning of the 30s building up to this, they removed the African people from the land. You see what I'm saying? Ran them off, killed them, put them in slavery, all kinds of bullshit. Over generations and time, even going back past the 30s. You know what I'm saying? And then moved in there saying that they were there going back to the days of some old ancient book they say about Moses. You know what I'm saying? When it's not true. But when people put stuff in a spiritual form and a Bible and these different so-called things they call Bibles and stuff, they are able to manipulate the minds of the people based on their spirituality. You see what I'm saying? Based on their spirituality. Because in the spirituality, much of these people who go to church need to ask themselves, why are you, these people, 144,000 God's, their so-called God, chosen people, and not you? You know what I'm saying? And this is what they did. This is what Joe Biden did. You see? In order to create an Israel, in order to create a people to be in the land or to move into the land and then have rights to say what they're doing today to the Palestinian people, had to come from a biblical understanding of a lying Bible, a lying book that was driven into the minds of the people over generations and time. It's as simple as that. Because Israel, or whoever they're talking about, cannot prove any of their claim to the land in which they're fighting and killing the Palestinian people over. They're an invasion. You know what I'm saying? They're an invasion. And they, like I said, they wrote the book, they wrote a Bible and put themselves in the Bible using the name Israel. You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the word Israel, it's 3 different words. And why you have Ra in the middle, which represents the sun god Ra of Egypt, in your name. You're not Egyptian. So how would you have a name that has Is, which would be Islam, the IS at the beginning, and then in the middle you have AR, and then at the end you have EL. That's Luciferian in itself. That's Luciferian in itself. In taking other people's shit and mixing it. This is another thing they do. You know what I'm saying? They take shit and they mix it. I keep telling you that. You know what I'm saying? That's one of their psyches. That's one of their psyches. You know, when they mix shit, they like to mix the witch's brew. You know what I'm saying? Warlocks and shit like that and mixing shit. You know what I'm saying? Taking their why does many people who do yoga and this seance and all my aura and all this shit always have a pyramid or leave different things around them? They're not Egyptian. They be having crystal pyramids, you know, saying a rock shaped like a pyramid, you know, and they're not Egyptian. They love taking other people's shit and fucking with it. So this is what the creep Joe Biden did when it comes to the Gaza situation. And I still believe to this day that somebody else shot that weapon. And if it's Hamas, who is Hamas working for? We still have to ask that question. Is it Netanyahu? Because the persecution, the crucifixion we see going on of the Palestinian people using their biblical word, you know what I'm saying, is straight garbage. Of a race of people who do not belong there, a race of people who made up a Bible to put themselves in the light, and then use African people, the Egyptians, to say that we enslaved them, my ancestors enslaved them, and we made them build the pyramids and shit. And Moses was half Jews and half Hebrew. He was a Hebrew and he was a Hebrew, you know what I'm saying, and so forth. And they fooled off the Egyptian king to say he was his son, and the Egyptian king was black, so all his sons are white, and so on and different stuff. You know what I mean? It's a lot of garbage that people have in their head that they're going to have to release when it comes to what you're looking at in the Gaza Strip and what you're looking at based on what Creep Joe Biden have created along with the British talking about they got to create an Israel and put it in there in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? And destabilize the whole area by doing this and causing a vacuum of all types of factions to come in, and Lord knows who they're working for. You know what I'm saying? If they so truly to the trueness of what they did, why did they do it and then choose to have the Gazan people slaughtered just like animals, you know what I'm saying, when you were supposed to be protecting them? Is another question. But we see here, you know what I'm saying, in another one coming in, we see be careful what you ask for. If Donald Trump, I guess if Donald Trump's widest fantasies come true, Creep Joe Biden, you know what I'm saying, could become his worst nightmare. Who gives a flying fuck? Is you kidding me? You know what I'm saying? Talking about he could become, Creep Joe Biden is a nightmare to the United States in itself altogether. So I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. You know what I mean?